Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 3 of the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship, and to a very special Formula E weekend, if you want to class Monday as a weekend, because, of course, we have the American doubleheader. Today's meeting taking place at the popular Road Atlanta circuit for the Atlanta ePrix here in Georgia, USA. I am your commentator for today, JW97, and I am joined today by Dennis Graff.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm fine. How about you, Joe?
Surviving is the best way, because if anybody is not living in the UK or even in Ireland, it is quite humid in the UK, and it's expected to get a bit worse, so much so that there's a lot of memes going around saying that we're all going to die next week in the UK. So we'll see how that one lasts. So if I've melted by tomorrow's stream, you know why. But
Yeah,
anyway,
here in Germany it will be the same in the next few days.
Anyway, for the first time this season, it is a live stream for Formula E, and tomorrow's will be a live stream as well. Yuri is trying his best to try and avoid as many pre-records as best as possible, so he decided for the American doubleheader to have today's meeting on Sunday here at Atlanta, and the Miami meeting, which is tomorrow, being on the Monday, both on the same time, so it should be quite interesting. Also as well, unless Yuri has somehow forgot about this, we do have a sort of special livery for Robert Ionescu and a special helmet for Robert Ionescu as well, unless Yuri's somehow forgotten to do that for qualifying. Yeah, so you should be seeing that in qualifying. If not, if Yuri has forgotten, then we are going to see that in the race.
Two things. Two things. I'm actually... The chat can actually hear me, so you don't need to repeat me. So yeah, I'm trying to avoid pre-recordings mainly due to the upload time. Like, the upload times are annoying me. I need to, when I do a pre-recording, I have to keep the computer up for like 2 days straight, and with the increased price of electricity, yeah, I want to avoid that. And also, yeah, Robert's livery and helmet should be there. I did do the file change. So yeah.
Just for clarity, though, because it is something that Yuri's got to remember, the livery is only for this race. For tomorrow's race in Miami, it will revert back to the original livery, but the helmet will be used for both days. So just thought I'd mention that. But without further ado, because we rambled on quite a bit, let's get into the qualifying session for the Atlanta ePrix. And we might as well talk about last time out in Mexico, Dennis, because, well, whilst on the topic of Robert Ionescu, after, well, best part of 7 seasons, he finally returned to the top step of the podium after an amazing final lap dash.
Yeah, that was, I would say, overdue for him. There was such a long time that he didn't win the race. Let a lot of things happen to him, sadly. It weren't too good, but he finally managed to take his first win since the 2014 German Grand Prix, which is very happy for, I think, many people in the OC.
Yes, indeed. He's been waiting a while to get back on the top step of the podium, and because of that, he's now parachuted up to second in the Drivers' Championship. Could he potentially go for the championship this season, Dennis?
I think he could, because as we've seen in the first races, the Audis are very competitive. So there's a good chance for him, but he has very stiff competition.
Yes, indeed. Now, just like last season, before we avoid any confusion, because of course it confused Robert Ionescu last season when he commentated on this track last season, the first ever time a Formula E meeting had commentary. This is the 1997 version of Road Atlanta, and it doesn't have textures around the outside of it. I do believe, according to Flo, there was an up-to-date version of Road Atlanta, but I've never come across it personally. So it is the 1997 version of Road Atlanta we are using, and it should be interesting to see, because last season it was quite an exciting race here as well. So hopefully in for another exciting race here at Road Atlanta. And of course, it is kind of a season anniversary for Yuri, because this is where he hosted his first ever Formula E race last season, after I sadly had to drop my hosting duties due to issues on my computer. So anyway, we're running on board with Dominic Cicelli, who's the first driver out on track. and he'll be making his way towards the final 2 corners on the racetrack. You can tell it's a 1997 version because, one, the pit lane is on the opposite side, and secondly, there's no chicane before these final 2 corners right here. So, anyway, as Dominic Ticelli now then starts his lap, as he'll now make his way down towards the first corner, and looking at the mini-map, all 22 cars, in fact, no, all 14 cars, get that right, Joe, all 14 cars are out on track because they go 14 at a time to avoid any pit lane calamities that we saw last season, let's not forget. Yes, so anyway, it's Dominic Ticelli now then, just making his way towards the end of Sector 1 at 25.749 in the third sector. I think he's actually got his teammate trying to follow him by, and it could cause him problems into the corner, and no, it's actually the Mercedes of Enis Parachki. Very similar onboard cameras for both the Mercedes and the Nissan, but yeah, it is Enis Parachki that's behind, but Parachki's lap already in the bin as a result of being impeded by Dominic Ticelli, and might even impede Ticelli if he's not careful, if he tries to pass him down on this long straight where we saw most of the overtaking happening last season. And looks like Ticelli's not getting put off too much by Enis Parachki as they now make their way towards the final 2 corners. In fact, Parachki just zooms on by there, and kind of an advantage really if you've got a Group 1 car compared to a Group 2 car there, because Nissan, I do believe, is a Group 2 car. But anyway, Parachki, a 17.471, 5 tenths quicker than Ticelli. Denholm goes into second. Wojtek Kulizek across the line goes into fourth. Here comes Jacob Tobler now then in the Mahindra across the line, and he goes into fifth. Nguyen Min Kwan goes into second place. Here comes Robert Ionescu with his special livery, goes into third, and his special helmet as well. Aji Prazan goes into second place in the Jaguar. Rafael Demel across the line goes into second. Very good time for Demel there, it's fair to say, because I believe he's in the Nissan, so a Group 2 car for the second, getting in front of a few Group 1 cars. That's very good. Here comes Kochi Cheong now then, who's now making his way towards the final 2 turns. Let's see what the first of the Cheong brothers can do now then, as the Malaysian driver sprints across the line, goes into 9th. Here comes Mohamed Razin in the Porsche, goes into 10th. Sana Chue now then in the Neo. It's not been the best of season for Neo so far for both Chue and Kumar, the 2 rookies. 10th place for Chue, getting ahead of Razan that time by. Here's the championship leader, Brandon Jackson, across the line, and he goes quickest by 4 tenths of a second, 4 tenths quicker than Enis Parachki, who's going back into the pits, and it was actually 13 cars, not 14, I do apologise. But Brandon Jackson at the top by 4 tenths of a second, but I would keep an eye on Enis personally, Dennis, because he did get impeded quite a bit by Dominic Ticelli there.
Yeah, despite being a bit blocked, he's still in P2, so he's quite competitive around here. And of course, qualifying is still long. Many things can still and will happen.
Indeed, and of course we've still got 9 more cars yet to do a lap, so they could interfere with proceedings. But so far, Jackson at the top with Parachki in second. Demel, very good in third place in the Nissan so far, with Prazan in fourth. We might as well talk about Jaguar, Dennis, because I don't know if you noticed, but it seems that in qualifying trim, the Jaguars look particularly strong, but so far in the races, they've never been really able to convert that for several reasons.
Yeah, just have to check where they are on the championship, because I've already forgot the race finishes, which was actually driving there.
Yes, it's been a bit of a season, to be fair to you, Dennis. So kind of got that one right. But anyway, as we wait for the next cars to come out on track, including the 9 that have not set a time. First of all, apologies if you hear a fan in the background. As I mentioned earlier, quite humid in the UK, so I need to have it on to prevent me from melting. And just for extra protection, I also managed to put an ice-cold bottle of water in the freezer before this event, so at least it'll keep me hydrated during this. I might have to do this tomorrow as well when we're at the Miami Prix. But first on track with this group of cars is going to be Alex Broster in the Envision Virgin Racing car, and, well, fair to say Virgin have been on the rough end of bad luck so far this season, because they did look quite strong in Mexico, but it just didn't seem to work out for them in the end.
Yeah, so far they even didn't got a single point, which is a shame for them. They had any bad luck. To be honest, I didn't watch the races completely, especially Mexico. They have not, and also they're a few weeks back, so also have the for memory of a goldfish sometimes. Yeah. So far,
Indeed.
it's
Well,
not good for both of them.
Yeah, definitely not. As Broster's on track, I think that's Santino Andreoli that's just behind. As Alex Broster now will make his way towards the final two corners, as he'll be starting his lap very soon now then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight will go the former GP2 driver as he now makes his way down towards the first corner. There's still two Mercedes yet to go out on track and another car you can just see there on the right hand side as Broster's teammate Wojciech Kulizek comes out just in front of him. That's not going to bode well in the Virgin Racing camp, and I'm not going to be surprised if Broster is going to be particularly happy with Kulizek on that occasion. As Kulizek now forms a bit of a gap, but that's already his lap in the bin, Dennis.
Yep, that's not good from Virgin. They should have let Kulazek come out a bit later so he can be a bit behind, but that was not good from the team.
No, definitely not. And so, obviously, a little bit of miscommunication there from the Virgin Racing, or maybe a little bit of a calculation error from the pair of them. But either way, it's not going to please Alex Broster one bit at all. As Broster now then will approach the final few turns on the racetrack. Might get a little bit of slipstream from his team, but not too much. But you can just tell how much the hold-up has prevented him by 2.3 seconds off of Brandon Jackson in the middle sector, and he's going to end up in last as a result. So still more to come from Broster, but he's not going to be happy that this lap has gone in the bin. Broster, as expected, 2.4 seconds off as Andreoli goes into second place, 3 tenths off of Jackson as Koenig makes it a BMW 1-2 as he slots into second. Mocho starting his lap. Leighton Aviard slots into 9th position as we now look at Owen Carpenter in the DS Cheetah racing car, using all the curb on the outside there, coming out of that double right-hand as he now makes the long blast down towards the final 2 turns. And Carpenter, let's see where he can end up in the DSG Cheetah. His teammate, Kwan, is currently in 7th place. Kwan had a very good qualifying last time out in Mexico City, and he'll be looking to continue that into here at Atlanta, and Carpenter will be looking to try and see if he can match that. Let's see what the Irishman can do now then, as he rounds the final turn, and onto the pit straight goes Owen Carpenter. He slots to 11th, just 4 places back from Kwan, as Tilsley goes fastest by 400 of a second. Tilsley to the top of the timing sheets. Just Want Kumar goes into 10th, a very good time there in the Group 3 Neo. Here comes Coach Chun Cheon now then, the second Cheon brother, and he slots into 20th, just in front of Broster, who of course got held up. Kwan improves, he goes up into 6th. Here comes Kulizek, who held up Broster, of course, and he goes into 7th. A good time there from Wojciech Kulizek. Here comes Michael Mocho on his first flying lap in the Mercedes. The Portuguese driver crosses the line, goes into 3rd, 2 tenths off of Jake Tilsley there. As we look at Dominic Ticelli, he's up on his personal best by 3 tenths of a second, so he's looking at a big improvement, so long as he doesn't make a mistake, of course, in these final 2 corners. The Italian now then crosses the line. What could Ticelli do? And he slots into 7th place, gets in front of Kwan there, and it's Puracki on an improvement. Of course, he got held up, let's not forget, on his first lap by Dominic Ticelli. This time, no such thing. The Macedonian crosses the line and goes into 3rd, slots in behind Brandon Jackson there then. Anybody else on a lap on this occasion? I don't think so. So these are these runs with, and it is now Jake Tilsley at the top. As I talked about earlier, Dennis, Jaguar continuing their impressive quali pace, but their race pace, they really need to try and transform.
Yeah, I think, as I said, trip to quali pace a bit more, but also I have to say that was quite a good effort from Kwan and also from Kuba to be in their respective places. From them so far, a good job. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And so far then, Jake Tilsley at the top by just 400 a second. As mentioned, Puracki was able to find that time that he lost from being held up by Ticelli on that first flying lap and gets into 3rd, just over a 10th behind Brandon Jackson. But he slots in 3rd. So far, the 2 Mercedes locking out row 2, 3rd and 4th for both Puracki and Mocho at this present moment. Very good so far for Kulizek and Kwan again. It looks like even though, Kwan is obviously in a Group 3 car, we believe the Cheetah is a Group 3 car. Again, putting in a very good shift at the moment then. Oh, it is a Group 2 car, I do apologise. Yeah, so far though, both of them still putting in a good shift at the moment, Dennis, in 8th and 9th. Same for Ticelli as well, he's in 7th.
Yeah, indeed. They so far have a good quality session here. I think they get to grips to the track faster like for a few others. But also, one other thing, Broster needs to improve, of course, after being held up by his teammate. So hopefully he will be able to get a lap without traffic here.
have to see, of course. He's still waiting in the pit lane at the moment as we speak, as you can see with the P indicator. Unless he's not going to go out on this run, he's going to wait a little bit later on, probably just to calm down a little bit from that hold up and maybe just have a word with Virgin to ask what on earth that was about with Wojtek Kulizek. But anyway, as Dumal now then makes his way towards the final two corners, using all the AstroTurf on the inside there, can't be used as a curb there, it's fair to say, for all the drivers, as Dumal starts his next flying lap, as there are cars coming out of the pits, you just see on the left-hand side, but Dumal, luckily, is not going to get held up, so it's going to be a clean lap for the Brazilian, as he currently lies in 10th position. So 7th and 10th for the two Nissans at this point in time, as Dumal now then makes his way down the hill through the right, then the left, and then flicking it in through this near 90-degree left-hander, which will take him towards the end of the first sector, using the curb on the outside. And he is 1/10 down, actually, on his personal best. So far, not improving at the moment is Rafael Dumal, as he now makes his way through the double right-hander. It's a quick medium-speed right-hander there before having to slow it all the way down through this tighter right-hander before making the long blast down towards the final two turns here at Road Atlanta. Of course, one of the best racetracks in America. I mean, it's fair to say that America does have a lot of great racetracks, and Road Atlanta being one of them as well. Of course, Road America is another good one as well that the World Champ Car Series recently went to. You've obviously got Laguna Seca, Indianapolis, Austin. So many good tracks here in America, and obviously Formula E gets the privilege of racing on one of them, Road Atlanta. But anyway, Dumal crosses the line, and as expected, no improvement, stays in 10th position. Here comes Jacob Tobler, who's on the improvement in the Mahindra. Across the line, goes into 12th. Not bad for him, considering he's in a Group 3 car. Koichi Chion, his teammate, is also on an improvement. He's 2/10 up on his personal best, and he currently finds himself down in 18th position at the moment as Chion crosses the line, goes up one place into 17th, gets above Owen Carpenter at the moment, who's so far not having a good qualifying session in the Group 2 Tech Cheetah. Here comes Aji Prazan now then in the Jaguar, as he will now make his way. He's got a yellow flag, that is down at turn 1, and it's Santino Andreoli. It looks like he's made a mistake, it seems. That is, we did see drivers making a mistake here last season, and
yeah,
yet just a simple driver error there for the French driver.
Yeah, you can see, I think there was a bit of understeer in the corner, and he just slid off and spun. Did he actually hit the wall?
I think he did clip it. Yes, he did, but he's very lucky not to sustain any damage. It's like he just scraped across it, basically.
Yeah, but it's not good for him, but he's still in P6, so it could be worse.
There are some cars still on the lap, of course, though, so we might as well pick up on those. Prazan goes into 10th, meanwhile, in the Jaguar, as Jackson is way off the pace, 3.7 seconds off. I wonder if that car in front had anything to do with it, and that is Alex Broster, who got held up earlier on and probably trying to give a taste of own medicine to someone else, but he's starting his lap, is Broster there. Aviard starting his lap. Koenig doesn't improve, stays in 5th position so far in the BMW. Here's Ross Denholm now then, who's currently down in 16th and not improving at the moment, and he's currently on a lap, is Ross Denholm, as we look at Mohamed Razin in the Porsche, who's up on his personal best by a 10th. As meantime, we have trying to think who Cho is. Choi going up into 9th position. Sana Choi in the Neo going up into 9th. That's a great lap for the Group 3 Neo. Razin only 20th in the Group 2 Porsche at the moment. He's really struggling at the moment. Here comes Santino Andreoli, who of course made that mistake earlier on, so this is not going to improve his lap whatsoever. Here's teammate Robert Ionescu with the specially Atlanta-themed Audi livery, which we've not seen too much of. We've only seen his helmet, as Brewster, obviously it's expected he's improving, 1.5 seconds up, because of course let's not forget Kulizek held him up on his first flying lap, so this should be an improvement and should get him basically in range of everybody else. Brewster through the final turn, down the pit straight and across the line, goes to British driver and he goes 19.
Only P19.
Slots in front of Carpenter in the Virgin, but Sana Choi in the Group 3 Neo, very good time.
Yeah, that was a very impressive time by her. So yeah, it's a very great effort. Yeah, hopefully she can stay up there for the remainder of the session.
Indeed so, and so far no drivers seem to be equal on times at the moment, so everybody kind of separated. Not like it matters anymore really, because of course Flo and Yuri of course use the different mistake rates between qualifying and the race to replicate the drivers pushing hard in qualifying, so Obviously, he'll need to make a custom grid anyway after this session to get the right mistake rate, basically. But anyway, Coach Chung Cheon now then out on the racetrack. He's currently down in last position. The Cheon brothers only 18th and 22nd at the moment in the Venturi and the Mahindra, respectively. As Cheong now then makes his way down the hill, and he will be starting his lap very, very soon. The only car on track as we speak. He'll be joined by 12 cars as well, because of course they all go out in sections to avoid the pit lane glitches that we saw last season in Formula E when Yuri took over. Carpenter just comes out on the track for Tech Cheetah, down in 20th position at the moment. Carpenter, it's safe to say, really struggling so far in this qualifying session. As Cheong now then, Coach Chung Cheon now then, will be starting his lap quite soon. Kumar is out on track, as is the current pole sitter Jake Tilsley at the moment. Just over 13 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for the Atlanta Prix here at the famous Road Atlanta circuit, the 1997 version of Road Atlanta. As mentioned, I do believe Flo mentioned there was an up-to-date version of Atlanta floating around, but I haven't come across it personally, and nor is Yuri, so I wonder where that one ended to. But anyway, Coach John starting his lap now then as he makes his way through the first corner, and now into the S's he will go, the famous S's. Luckily, we're not going around the club variant of this track, because one, this doesn't exist on this version, and two, well, it's a bit crap if we're being totally honest. It kind of breaks the flow of this amazing track if I'm being totally honest. A bit of a reference to the Super Series Track Guide series made by Southpaw Racer. That's the one. I lost his name there for a minute. But anyway, cheering up, but not by much on his personal best. Only 500 up on his personal best in the first sector. 500 exactly, I should say. But let's see if he could try and find some more time in the middle sector, as the Venturi now then will make his way towards, as I nearly knocked someone over there. I'm a bit clumsy today, it's fair to say. But anyway, he's still up on his personal best. This time, he's actually found a lot of time in that middle sector. That says 4 tenths up in the first sector that time for Coach Chung Cheon. So he could get out of last place, but I wouldn't say it won't be by much. Anyway, let's see. Cheong now then. Coach Chung Cheon across the line he will go, and he slots into 21st. So only Razin is the only driver now to be over a second behind Jake Tilsley at the moment. As we now look at Owen Carpenter now then in the DS Cheetah, as he's currently not improving at the moment, only down in 20th so far is the Irish veteran, as he now makes his way down the hill now then, a very drop and then back up the hill before he approaches the final 2 turns on the racetrack, and now into the final corner will come Owen Carpenter now then, as he'll now cross the line and does not improve. Tilsley's on improvement though, the current pole sitter. Can he break into the 1-minute 6s? Let's see. Tilsley across the line, and he can. Look at that. 7 tenths quicker than Brandon Jackson. That's a very big improvement. A 1-minute 6.264. Meanwhile, it looks like Mocho's getting held up by, it looks like Dominic DiCelli in the Nissan. Can he pass him going into the second to last corner? So going to go side by side, and he does clear him, but Mocho's lap being compromised as a result. Currently in 4th place, and now over a second behind Tilsley after he put in that mega lap there, and he does not improve as a result of that hold up there. Does Michael Mocho stays in 4th position. Here is Nguyen Minh Quan now then in the DS Cheetah. Only the second of 2 Vietnamese drivers competing across the OC. The other one, of course, being GP2 driver Hoang Minh Nguyen. And
you mean
Quan
F2 driver?
Sorry, F2. I apologise there. Anyways, Quan now then makes his way towards the final 2 turns. Let's see what Quan is able to do. He's not on an improvement. Can he find a miracle in the last sector? No, he can't. Only a 10th off his personal best there. Kulizek didn't improve either. He stays where he is at the moment, which is P10. Ennis Paratsky, no improvement for him. Jake Tilsley coming back into the pits. Here comes Kochi Cheon, who's not up on his personal best. 3 tenths down on his personal best in the middle sector, as Kochi now then approaches the final turn. Around the final corner he will go. Across the line he goes in the Mahindra, and he stays in 18th position. Aji Prazan, meanwhile, is up on his personal best by exactly a 10th. Prazan only down in 11th so far, so I'm not expecting him to go anywhere near his teammate. Prazan across the line goes into 8th position, so 1st and 8th for the 2 Jaguars there. Gicelli probably got held up by Mocho from earlier on and doesn't improve and stays in P7 at the moment. Tobler is on the improvement, meanwhile, in the Mahindra. Where can he go? And he goes into 12th position, slots behind Wojtek Kulizek at the moment. Rafael Demel, meanwhile, is on the improvement in the Nissan. And he is still up by only a 10th, I think that says. Yes, a 10th of a second up on his personal best. Demel currently in 13th position. He could get himself up to maybe back into the top 10 if he can keep this up. Let's see. Demal around the final corner and across the line he will go, and he goes into 6th. That's a big improvement there for Demal. He found a lot of time in that last sector to get up into 6th position, slotting in between both Marvo Koenig and Santino Andreoli, both drivers, of course, in Group 1 machinery. Here is Ross Denholm now, and he's coming out on track in the Venturi, and drivers coming in and out thick and fast from the pit lane now then, as we have just under 8 3/4 minutes to go in this qualifying session as Denholm makes his way through the swooping S's now then, and now he'll make his way up towards the left-hander and just missing the curb on the inside there. But we're seeing some very impressive times so far, it's fair to say, from the Group 2 and Group 3 guys at the moment, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. There's a few guys who have done a great job. I think Dumel as well. In the Group 2 car, I think that's quite a good improvement, but also I have to say the gap between Mocho and UNESCO is only about 3/10. So it's very close.
Yes, indeed. I think there was a little bit of lag there on Dennis's end. But Ionescu only down in 14th at the moment in the Atlanta ePrix. He's now out on the track, as you can see from the fact that he hasn't got the P indicator next to his name. As Denholm now then comes towards the first corner. No traffic coming out of the pits there, so going to be a clear lap for the Scotsman now then, as he makes his way into the S's now then, flicking it in, using all the curb on the inside, through the left, and then into the next section of corners he goes. Through the right, then the left, and then into the left-hander he will go, as he just misses the curb on the inside. Let's see what his first sector is like, and he's way down on his personal best by just under 6/10 of a second there, as he now rounds the double right-hander now then. He flicks it in, missing the curb on the inside, but using all of it on the outside to power his way down towards the final 2 corners. Of course, as mentioned earlier, this is where we're going to be seeing most of the overtaking being done in the race a little bit later on, of course, after, of course, Yuri sorts out the custom grid and, of course, the correct mistake rate. Of course, in terms of the laps, if I'm not mistaken, the laps for this track, I think, are obviously going to be increased from last season because, of course, ever since Yuri took over, he's actually increased the laps for most of these tracks. So it'll be very interesting to see how many laps this track will be when we get there a little bit later on. Denholm doesn't improve and stays where he is at the moment, which is P17. Mohamed Razan, who's clearly struggling so far in that Porsche, up on his personal best in the middle sector. Found some time in the middle sector because he was down in the first sector. But, yeah, it's just been a terrible session so far for the Indonesian driver, as Razin now then approaches the final corner, and Mohamed Razin will come across the line, and he improves but stays in the last position. Ionescu up on his personal best. Can he get closer to the top of the timing sheets? He can. He goes up into 4th. That's a big improvement there for Robert Ionescu there. Up into P4 he goes, as Jackson's up on his personal best, but loses time in the middle sector. So he was up originally in the first sector, but lost it all in that middle sector. Tilsley's lap just way too strong at the moment for most of these guys at the moment, and Jackson can't seem to find an answer at the moment, being 7/10 off of Tilsley, and Jackson does not improve at that time. As we now look at Andreoli, he's getting a slipstream there from the Techeetah in front, but he looks like he's been held up early on by that Techeetah because he's 2 seconds down on his personal best in the middle sector, and he currently finds himself in 8th position so far in the Audi, as he now rounds the final corner, and Andreoli does not improve and he stays where he is. Alex Broster, meanwhile, is up on his personal best, and Broster crosses the line and goes into 18th position, slots in front of Kochi Chion there. Koenig is up on his personal best. What can the German driver do? Across the line, goes into second, puts his BMW on the front row and demotes his teammate onto row 2 as a result there. Big improvement from Marvo Koenig, as Leighton Aveyard is on an improvement so far in the Porsche. It's fair to say he's had a very good rookie season so far in the OC as Leighton Aveyard, and doing very well is Leighton Aveyard in the Porsche, doing a lot better than what his more experienced teammate Mohamed Razin is doing at the moment, especially in this session, as Aveyard currently in 16th position at the moment. Was originally up on his personal best in the first sector, but seemed to have lost time in the middle sector, just under 400s down on his personal best in the middle sector, with just over 4.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Aviard across the line, can he find time in the last sector? No, he can't, and he stays down in 60th position. The Porsche is seemingly struggling around this track. Chwei doesn't improve, and she stays in 12th, as Carpenter's getting held up by one of the Audis there. One of the Audis, who of course is coming back into the pits. So Carpenter's lap has gone into the bin, and he will stay in 20th position. As we look at Coach Chun Cheon now then, who's currently in 21st position so far, just in between Owen Carpenter and Mohamed Razin. And Coach Chun Cheon now then comes around the final corner, and across the line he will go. No improvement, and stays where he is. Jaswant Kumar now then, the Indian driver in the Neo, currently in 15th position, and he stays in 15th for the time being. Jake Tilsley, the current pole sitter, crosses the line. No improvement, and stays on a 1 minute 6.264 at the moment. But yeah, whilst on the topic of Santino Andreoli earlier on, Dennis, of course, Santino had a good chance to make it a double podium for Audi, but he kind of bottled it on his own, really.
Yeah, to be honest, I've forgot what happened to him, to be honest.
Spun, basically, clipped the back of
who
was it? It was, I think it was Paratsky clipped the back off, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it was there was a good chance for Audi to get a 1-2, but I guess he let his patience get in the way.
Yeah, it was a big shame for him, but still, P4, it's not bad. He's still got good points. He's currently in P4 in the standings, so it could be. So it's, I would say, good for him so far this season.
Indeed so, as Michael Mocho now then makes his way through the double right-hander, as he'll be starting what looks to be his final flying lap, given how much time there is left on the clock. And he's currently in 6th position. Of course, he got held up on his previous attempt, so he'll be looking to see if he can get under a second behind Jake Tilsley, or even try and find a big improvement himself in the Mercedes. And Mocho now then preparing to start his lap, and like most runners, will be hoping there's no traffic by the time he makes his way towards the first corner, as Mocho approaches the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then in the Mercedes, as he now comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will now go, and Mocho starting his lap as he makes his way down towards the first corner. Is there any traffic by the time he gets there? And the answer to that is no. So clear run for the Portuguese-British driver, or British-Portuguese driver, I should say. He's running under a Portuguese nationality for the Formula E, and ran it last season as well, when he was also driving for Mercedes alongside Balenzoga. Of course, got a new teammate this season in the form of Enis Paratsky, and so far Mocho having a better season than what he had last season, of course, and I think that's kind of in tone with the new regulations. 500's up on his personal best in the first sector. Mocho, of course, as I was just referring to there, definitely benefiting from these new regulations and seeming to suit him quite well, it's fair to say, as he uses all the curb on the outside. But of course, we have seen drivers lose time in the middle sector, so let's see if that's going to be a similar story to Michael Mocho. Let's see what his second sector is going to be like. He was only 500s up on his personal best in the first sector, and he is down on the middle sector, so kind of the same story happening there with Michael Mocho, and he's probably going to struggle to try and recuperate that in the last sector, as he now rounds the final 2 corners on his final flying lap, as we now know. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight, and Mocho does not improve and stays in 6th position. Kwan now then on his final flying lap rounds the final turn, and he does not improve. He stays where he is for the moment. Paratsky up on his personal best. Can the Macedonian improve and across the line? And he does. He goes up into, in fact, I think he stays in 4th. In fact, gets in front of Robert Ionescu there, but he improves on his time nonetheless. It's Ticelli trying to find a way through on one of the Mahindras there, and that's probably his lap down the toilet. Currently down in currently up in 9th position, I should say, for Ticelli, as he was trying to overtake one of the Mahindras there. Not sure which Mahindra it was, but Ticelli crosses the line. No improvement. Tobler it was, and Tobler's just starting his lap there. As here comes Wojciech Kulazek now then in the Virgin Racing car, and Kulazek crosses the line. No improvement, stays where he is. Demal and Prazan will just get enough in. I don't think Razin's going to have enough time to start a lap, so that will be that for him. As we look at Kochi Chion now then in the Mahindra, and 3 point summit down in the middle, in the first sector there, getting held up by the Venturi in front. It'd be quite ironic if it was actually his brother that's holding him up there. No, it isn't. It's Ross Denholm. It's the other Venturi car. So luckily, no family disputes going on at the Cheong household. So anyway, it's Kochi Cheong now. Then it looks like he's going to try and pass Denholm down into the corner. The checkered flag is now out, signifying the end of this qualifying session, as Cheong is going to get by on Denholm down the straight, and easy as you like.
4.4 seconds down. Look at this.
Down on Tilsley. The hold up definitely not working out well for Kochi Cheong now. Then as he now will cross the line to finish his lap, and no improvement whatsoever for him, as Denholm didn't have enough time to start a lap. Jacob Tobler, his teammate, crosses the line. No improvement, stays in 14th position. Kulizek coming into pits as Demel is up on his personal best, but not by much, only by 700 of a second. In the middle sector, as Demel rounds the final corner, and across the line he will go, and he improves to go up to 6th. That's a big improvement. Pushes Mocho down into 7th, and I think these are the laps done with, and they are, which means that Jake Tilsley is on pole position for the Atlanta ePrix. What a lap for the Jaguar driver indeed there. So, here is your grid then. Jake Tilsley on pole, Malvo Koenig in 2nd, followed by Brandon Jackson in 3rd, Enis Parachki 4th, Robert Ionescu in 5th, Rafael Demal in 6th, Michael Mocho 7th, Santino Andrioli in 8th, Dominic DiCelli 9th, Aji Prazan in 10th, with the Guin Min Kwan in 11th, and you can do the rest, Dennis.
Okay, so Sana Choi is in P12 ahead of Wojtek Kulacek, P13, Jakub Tovola, P14, Jaswan Kumar, who started P15 at the Leighton Eviard, Ross Denholm, P17, Alex Proster will start in a disappointing P18, I have to say. Kok Ji Cheong is in P19 ahead of Owen Carpenter, and on the last row we have Kok Chun Cheong and Muhammad Razin.
Indeed, but obviously we're going to take a little break so that Yui can sort out the grid and sort out the correct mistake rate for this. But I think it's fair to say, Dennis, what a lap from Jake Tilsley. 7 tenths quicker in the end than both the BMWs.
Yeah, that is one of the best qualifying efforts in Formula E I've ever seen, to be honest. That's a big gap from him to everyone else. Oh yeah, that's one lap to be proud of for Tilsley.
Indeed. So just stay with us, guys. It will be on the same stream this race will be, so don't go anywhere. We will be live in a minute for the race. You've just got to sort out the grid because, of course, we had a different mistake rate for qualifying, but we should get back to the regular mistake rate for the race. And, of course, get ready for the Atlanta ePrix, which hopefully should be quite exciting if last season was anything to go by. So that's that, really. Just checking to see if Tilsley ever had a pole in the OC. I don't think he ever has, to be honest. And no, he hasn't. That's his first ever OC pole position. So just going to be silent for the moment, guys, as I sort out the tweet. So just bear with, kind of similar to what I do with the top class. So yeah, just bear with for the moment, guys. So you will see black on the screen for just a moment, but we should have something a little bit very soon. So don't be alarmed, guys, is what I'm saying. And don't be alarmed by the little silence I'm going to be doing as well.
Yeah.
Tweet is up, and we're just waiting now for the race to start. And I think one of the corners that we will need to really keep an eye on in this race, Dennis, if we're being totally honest, is probably turn 1, because that's where we saw quite a few mistakes happening last season.
That's, I think a few guys had collisions there last season, also including Ionescu, I think, but I'm not sure.
Yes, he did. He actually ended up with a 10-place grid penalty, if I'm not mistaken, last season. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
obviously one thing with this track that I want to erase. And luckily, because we didn't see much of the updated livery for Ionescu, we should see a lot of that in the race because we only saw it from the onboard perspective. It's not too much of a change, I will point it out. It's only a minor change, really. It's basically what I've done is I've basically taken the colours of the Georgia flag, because of course Road Atlanta is located in the Georgia state, and he's also requested a little quote from, I think, one of their state leaders. I might be wrong on that. I think Robert, if he's in the chat, will correct me on that. But he asked me to put a quote on the side pod, so you will see that on the side pods. So on his side pod, that is. The livery is not on Andreoli's car. I should point that out. It's only on Robert Ionescu's Audi. But as mentioned, he'll revert back to the original livery tomorrow. It's just for this race where he wanted an Atlanta themed, Georgia themed car for this one. So that's that, really. And
yeah. Speaking of UNESCO, I have quite a nice stat for him. Tomorrow, he will drive his 200th GP4 OC race. That's quite nice for him.
The fact that he gets to do it as well in what he's deeming his home race, let's not forget, because unfortunately we don't have a Romanian track on Grand Prix 4, but of course he does have an American citizenship, so any races that we travel to in America that he's in, he classes that as his home race, because he is an American citizen, and well, it's a great place to do it, to get his 200th race. Could he end up maybe with a victory tomorrow at Miami? We'll have to wait and see. For anybody who needs clarity, by the way, it's not the Miami Grand Prix circuit that we saw this season in the real-life Formula 1. I know that the Miami Grand Prix is actually now available on Grand Prix 4, but it is the fictional Dodge Island circuit that we're using, like for the previous few seasons, that we are using for round 4 tomorrow. So don't be alarmed when we get there tomorrow at 3 p.m. BST. I thought I'd put a little warning shot on there before people get confused tomorrow. For anybody who's never watched the Miami ePrix before for Formula E, of course. So just thought I'd put that little disclaimer out there. But yeah, it should be very interesting to see. But can he actually maybe do well? I mean, he's starting in 5th place for this race, Dennis. Could he potentially write off the burden that he had last season on this track and maybe challenge for the win like he did last time out in Mexico?
Yeah, he could be. Of course, he's in a quite good starting position with P5. So I think everyone in the top 5 could fight for the win. So it will be very exciting to see who will come out on top.
Will be interesting indeed. And of course, we will have Jake Tilsley on pole position as well for that race. Could he potentially try and get his... I believe his first ever win in the OC, because he only got a podium, if I'm not mistaken, in the now defunct BTCC series. So who knows really what he could do in the Jaguar. Of course, we talked about it in qualifying, how Jaguar have been very inconsistent in races. Their qualifying pace has been mega, but the race pace has just been, well, nowhere so far. They've just been struggling, it's fair to say.
Yeah, but to be honest, for Prasan, I think if he got where he qualified for him, I think it wasn't that good in comparison to his teammate. There's also a bit of inconsistency between the two Jaguars this time around.
Yes, indeed, because Prazan, as you alluded to there, is starting in 10th place for this race. So he only just scraped into the top 10 and only just ensured that both Jaguars got into the top 10 as a result. So that will be definitely something to keep an eye on, to see what Prazan is able to do in the race, of course. Starting down there. Just currently editing the wiki as well whilst we're waiting to get the race underway as well. So thought I'd use this spare time to edit the wiki as well. So yeah, that's that really. Before anybody's wondering why I'm sounding like I'm pausing a lot. So
yeah. So actually, we're right. Tilsley so far scored only one podium. That was the second place, the feature race of Donington Park.
And whilst you were talking there, we've now got the stream back up. So you should see on your screen the grid for the race. And if my stream decides to load, because it's kind of bugged out a bit on my end there. So there we go. We are now on the grid, as you can see. I don't know why Yuri's scrolling through, because there may be people who have not watched the qualifying session. So back to the beginning, Yuri. Anyway, for anybody who didn't see the qualifying session, of course, it's going to be a 44-lap race. This is what the grid looks like then. I will not ask you, Graf, we might as well just go briefly through it. So it is Jake Tilsley on pole, with Marvo Koenig in second, Brandon Jackson in third, Enis Parachki starts in fourth on the Mercedes. Again, ignore the grid icons. Yuri's still trying to find out how to fix those. Robert Ionescu in fifth, Rafael Demal is in sixth, with Michael Macho seventh, Santino Andrioli in eighth position, followed by Dominic Dicelli in ninth, Aji Prazan in 10th, followed by Nguyen Min Kwan in 11th, Sana Choi, a very good qualifying for her in 12th, Wojciech Kulazek in 13th, Jacob Tobler in 14th, with Jaswant Kumar in 15th, Leighton Aviard, a disappointing 16th, with Ross Denholm in 17th, Alex Broster in 18th, Kochi Chion in 19th, with Owen Carpenter in 20th, Kochon Chion in 21st, and Mohamed Razan, a disappointing 22nd. Let's see what the weather has in store, and it is going to be a dry day, so no rain expected, just like last season. So let's get on with it then, shall we? And hopefully we're going to be in, just like last season, for another exciting race here at Atlanta, albeit 44 laps this time instead of what it was last season, which I think was actually not that far away. I think it was actually around about 30-something laps last time, if I'm not mistaken. So not that much of a difference. But anyway, we're on the grid, as you can see. Tilsley on the left of your screens. It is Koenig on the right of your screens. Who is going to get the lead going around the first few sections of the course, as we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, and it's 5 lights. And these lights out, and away we go here for the Atlanta ePrix. Who's going to get the jump into the first corner? It looks like the front two have got away particularly well. Looks like Tilsley's going to cover off Koenig, and he's going to hold on to the lead, but Koenig going to try and go to the inside if he can into the first corner, but Tilsley going to hold on for the moment as they all blast their way down up towards the famous SSL. And there's Jackson trying to have a look at Koenig also at the same time, fending off from Enis Parachki in fourth position. Not been a good start for Robert Ionescu with the slightly special liveried Audi, as he's currently in sixth position, down 1 place from the original start. But it looks like everybody's got away quite cleanly so far, Dennis.
Yeah, that's good. Everyone is racing very well indeed, very clean. Yeah, we are set for a great race.
Indeed, some side-by-side action in the background there, but meantime, the top two look like they're starting to blast away from Jackson, who's having to fend off a bit from Enis Parachki. This is where we said most of the overtaking could be done now. And Enis Parachki is going to try and grab third from championship leader Brandon Jackson.
Yes,
no, he has done. Up into third place goes Enis Parachki. 3 wide there as Ionescu takes fifth back, and it looks like Demal is going to stretch back in front of Michael Macho now. Then in their 3 wide moment there, going down the straight, but the battle's commencing. There's Koenig on the back of Tilsley. Can he get him into turn 1 now? There's on lap 2 of 44. Down the inside goes the German driver, and he's done it. Koenig takes the lead of the Atlanta ePrix. Jackson tries to get back at Parachki, but Parachki fends on for the moment. But Koenig now in the lead, Dennis.
Yeah, the crowd roars for the German driver. Then now he can, try to stretch out the lead between him and Tilsley.
Indeed so, as meanwhile Jackson trying to have a look at Parachki going into the double right-hander, but going to hang back for the moment. Macho trying to have a go at Demal, again hangs back. They've also got to be aware of Andrioli as well, and he's also dragging along somebody else as well, though I couldn't quite tell. It looks like one of the Nissans he's also dragging along, so both Nissans in that fight for 6th position, both of Dicelli and Demal. That will be Dicelli at the back. Is Tilsley trying to grab the lead back from Koenig? Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Koenig fends off there as Jackson trying to have a go back at Parachki. Parachki fending off for the moment, as they're now making their way up the hill, as Jackson trying to have a go into the second to last corner there. Not going to quite work out, and if they could bring Ionescu into this. Dicelli is past Andrioli for B8, as it looks like Koenig starting to stretch away now from Jake Tilsley, as they now make their way towards the first corner. As we now look at Dicelli, who's on the inside of Santino Andrioli, and he takes P8. Looks like it's not been a good start for Andrioli so far, Graf.
Not really. Yeah, he's struggling a bit. Yeah, by the way, did you call me Graf?
Yes, I did. I called you by your last name on that occasion.
Oh, okay, that's
different. Kind of a bit of a heat of the moment sort of thing. I'll try and call you Dennis.
Oh, good.
Anyway, as meantime, it looks like there's no team orders at Nissan, as Dicelli and Demal fight it out for 7th place, and Andrioli looking to get back in after his terrible start. Looks like Macho in the slipstream of, it looks like Ionescu. He's going to try and grab 5th from the remaining driver as they go side by side down this back straight. Can Macho grab 5th from the man who won last time out in Mexico City? And he has done. Up into 5th place goes Michael Macho now then, as Ionescu now they're making his way towards the final 2 turns. And Mocho's not finished yet. He could even gain another place here as he tried to have a look at Jackson into the second to last corner, but backed out of it last minute. He might try and have a go into turn 1 as Ionescu with his special livery also trying to get by as well as he make the way towards the first corner. Is now Mocho on the inside. Can he go fourth from Jackson? He can. Up into fourth place.
Yes.
Goes Michael Mocho. Ticelli is past Ionescu. So up into sixth place goes Dominic Ticelli in a Nissan, and now he's got Jackson for the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship. There's a bit of a squabble there between Kwan and Prazan. So far, the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship going backwards so far, Dennis.
Yeah, so far they are not having a great start to the race. It seems like the others are having a better start, but the race is still long, so it could swing in every driver's way.
Especially when they've got a mandatory pit stop as well. As we've seen in the previous 2 races, staying out a lot longer before your pit stop is proven to work. Whether that will be the case here at Atlanta after we see Ticelli really flying so far in that Group 2 Nissan. And he gets up into 5th place, passing Brandon Jackson. So, really, Ticelli on a charge at the moment, it's fair to say. And, well, it's just not going well for both Jackson and Ionescu so far. The 2 good friends, who I think they are apparently, who are currently top 10 in the championship, is Koenig, the race leader, with a 1 second advantage currently with the fastest lap of the race so far, as Mocho now takes it away from him. 1 minute 8.110 for Michael Mocho. Mocho currently flying at the moment in the Mercedes, as he's currently lying in 5th and trying to chase down 4th placed. I'm trying to think who's actually in 4th place. Actually, it's Jackson trying to get back at Ticelli there, but also Ionescu wants a piece of him as well. He is the nearest rival, of course, to Jackson, but he's also dragging Demel and his teammate Andrioli with him. Not Demel's teammate, of course, talking about Ionescu's teammate there. Up the hill they go, as he now make the way towards the double white. Go, your flag is Koenig, no! The race leader!
Koenig, no! The leader!
Koenig is out of the race. That has Jake Tills in the lead back, and it's a mechanical failure for Marvo Koenig. What a shame!
Goodness me.
He pulled a gap.
That is heartbreaking stuff.
It's only lap 5, and the race leader is out of the race, and it is a puncher that is taking care of the German. Oh, what bad luck for Marvo Koenig, Dennis.
Oh, I don't know what happened to him. That's such a shame. He was leading quite comfortably, and then the tire said, "No, I don't want to
go at the
go
famous
fast anymore."
S's. You just saw it there. The S is clearly bringing a strain to these tyres, and it has affected Koenig. Koenig probably pushing so much that it has bursted his tyres straight away. Maybe a concern for the rest. We'll have to wait and see. But it has now put Tilsley back in the lead, and a double podium for Mercedes. Ionescu has passed Jackson. Up into P5 goes Robert Ionescu in the Audi. He's now got ahead of his nearest rival. Jackson really struggling on this stint so far. But as mentioned, it's now a double podium with Mercedes, with Mocho, of course, continuing to be the fastest man out there. He's broke into the 1 minute 7s.
Yeah, that's a very impressive pace for Mocho at the moment. He's absolutely going for it. He's on a mission right now, so let's see how far he can get in the next few laps.
I wish my iPad decided not to give me notifications there. I will need to, let me just put it in sleep mode for the moment, because it keeps, every time a notification gets popping up with another problem. It's actually Prazan this time in the Jaguar. Has he got a puncher as well? As he now pulls off at the same place where Koenig pulled off, has he got a... No, it's a gearbox this time. And that place is already turning into a car park, because there's Koenig's car and there's Prazan. So already within the space of 6 laps, more trouble.
Yeah, that seems like absolutely car park at the moment at that place. It's quite ironic that they had parked their cars in the same place of the track, but it's a big shame for Prazan. That means he won't finish in the points for the first time, I think, this season.
Yes, indeed. In fact, unseen by the cameras, Mocho's got second. He's passed Perachki, but Perachki's trying to get him back into the first corner, and he does so indeed. There's clearly no team orders at Mercedes, Dennis.
Yeah, at the Mercedes are saying you are free to race, which is good for the spectacle. Yeah, it's great to see a battle between those two. Here we see. Wait, who did the move there? Didn't catch that.
I didn't even know either, to be honest with you. But anyway, as I was actually busy trying to sort out...
Heavy out the tobble, I think.
Yes, as I was busy sorting out, but look at this. Dominic Dicelli in a Nissan, a Group 2 Nissan, looking at a podium here as he's now on the back of Michael Mocho. Mocho, because of that overtake Prix pulled on him, has put him prey to the Nissan here, and Dicelli fancying his chance at the podium here as they both go side by side down towards the right-hander. Is Dicelli going to get the move done? They're going to continue side by side down this hill. Is Dicelli going to grab a podium here off of Michael Mocho? And he is. Up into third place goes Dominic Dicelli. The Nissans are absolutely flying.
Yeah, they are absolutely great so far in this race, and also Kwan is past Dumel for P8. I saw that on the bottom graphic.
Yes. As meanwhile, look at this, Sana Choi in the Neo in the top 10 so far, currently in the points and fighting in the lower reaches. There's a lot of slowdowns going on here. It looked like there was a lot of battling going on, and it kind of bottled everybody out into the final two turns. And, well, a lot of action going on down at the bottom of the field. But meantime, Mocho was actually retaken third place there. He's re-overtaken Dicelli into the first corner there. So it didn't last long there for Dicelli.
Yeah, that was a good move for Mocho. He was... When he got past, he said, "No, my friend, you won't be ahead of me for a long time." And yeah, he proved it, and we took the place in the space of a few seconds.
We're a little bit angry that Prix passed him a little bit earlier on, so probably using that fire to get back at Dicelli, really. And as a result, Dicelli not close enough to try and get Mocho back down this long straight towards the final two turns. As the laps look like they're already starting to come away thick and fast through here. As meantime, Dumal now then trying to have a go at this is Kwan. He's having to go out in this battle for P8. So he couldn't find a way through. Keep an eye on Sana Choi meanwhile in the Neo, the Group 3 Neo, currently in the points at the moment, and she's really racy at the moment, trying to have a go at Dumal there into the second last corner, but she couldn't quite get the move done. And it's now also bringing in the Scotsman of Ross Denholm now. Then they call him Dumal there by accident. Ross Denholm trying to fight his way into the points as well, as we ride on board with the race leader Jake Tilsley. He's got a 3.6 second lead over Ennis Pratchke at the moment, as they just passed that car park there where Koenig and Tilsley's teammate Prazan are parked up at the moment. As meantime, Dicelli still keeping up with Mocho at the moment, so he's not letting him go that easily so far in this race.
Not really. He's definitely hanging on to the back of Mocho, and hopefully to get the space of the track where he can repass him.
Meanwhile,
Denholm got past Choi.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there. Denholm is up into 10th place. He's past Choi, and he now finds himself into the points playing position. Meanwhile, the other Neo having to fend off from one of the Mahindras there in front. That is Jacob Tobler who's trying to fend off there, as Coach Chun Cheon trying to keep back Alex Boster at the moment. As meantime, Mocho continuing to try. It looks like he's starting to close back in now on Ennis Pratchke. The gap 1.1 seconds, but he may also be dragging along Dominic Dicelli as well, so that may be something to keep an eye on there. As meantime, we're now looking at Tobler, who's on the inside of Jaswant Kumar now. Then down this back straight, they're still going to keep side by side, but it looks like Kumar's just going to have the edge going into the second to last corner, and is going to hold on to P17 for the moment as we go through the famous session. And yeah, Mocho is definitely closing back in on Ennis Pratchke at the moment, as the gap is now under a second between the two Mercedes. And as mentioned, he is also dragging Dicelli along into this as well. So Dicelli really in this fight for the podium at the moment, and really giving the Mercedes a hard time at the moment as we ride on board with Santino Andreoli so far in the Audi. There's now, look at this, Mocho on the back of now of Ennis Pratchke there. Nearly lost track of time there. Mocho on the inside and retakes the place from Ennis Pratchke, but will Pratchke try and get him back like on the previous lap? He stuck him back into his slipstream and he's tried to have a go at him in the second to last corner. Let's see if Pratchke can perform a similar story here with the two Mercedes. They can't afford to battle too much, because all they'll do is allow Jake Tilsley to get away. The gap 3.6 seconds at the moment. Pratchke on the back of Mocho, but it looks like he's actually going to tuck back in for the moment. So it looks like on this occasion, unless Pratchke keep up, Mocho has got second this time, Dennis.
Yep, indeed. He had to fight even for staying in the podium place, but now he's even at his teammate, and now he can set sight of closing the gap to Tilsley in front if he has the pace.
Indeed so, and also as well, the Mercedes have got to keep an eye on the fact Decelli's not far behind, but still, Peracci's still trying to attack Mocho at this point. You could argue that the Mercedes are probably lapping around about a similar sort of pace, but will Peracci try and get him back down this long straight now? In his meantime, Tobalu's finally got past Kumar for 17th position. Peracci going to retake the place from Michael Mocho. As mentioned, clearly no team orders at Mercedes, but Mocho this time around saying no to that and holds on to second place. Peracci forced to back out on that occasion, and still keeping up with the Portuguese driver at the moment, but there is now just a little bit of a gap forming between the two Mercedes drivers. Can Mocho go after Tilsley? That is the question.
Yeah, that's the big question, but I think Tilsley is keeping his pace steady, so he doesn't need to push that much at the moment. So you see Joy attacking the Merv from P9, and she's going through.
Earlier on, it looks like unseen by the camera, she actually re-overtook Ross Denholm for P10. Now she's on 2 championship points at the moment as she gets herself up into 9th position. As we look at Robert Ionescu now, then he's looking a little bit lonely in 5th position. The gap 0.9 seconds between himself and Santino Andreoli, 5th and 6th so far for the 2 Audi drivers. And so far, though, he will still cut into Brandon Jackson's lead in the championship, because so far Jackson appearing to struggle on this stint, down in 8th place, in fact, behind Nguyen Min Kwan at the moment. And who knows, maybe even Sana Choi in the Group 3 Neo can maybe start to close up on Brandon Jackson, but may also drag Demel and Denholm into this. But it looks like Demel is going to try and re-overtake Choi, perhaps, down this long straight, as Demel on the inside. Meantime, in the background, it looks like Kwan is having to fend off, not Kwan, Carpenter trying to fend off from one of the Virgins there. Side by side go Demel and Choi, and Demel retakes 9th as Denholm trying to overtake Choi is now, but Choi saying no to that, and well, that compromised Denholm there, but Choi not giving up, as Choi now trying to get P9 again from Rafael Demel into the first corner in the slipstream. Choi on the inside, can she retake the place? And the answer to that is not on this occasion. Demel holds on for the moment. Meantime, Macho is definitely gaining on Tilsley. The gap 2 seconds now between the pair of them. He's taking fractions out of Tilsley's lead on that occasion, and Macho definitely flying on this track.
Yeah, he's absolutely having a great pace so far in these first 12 laps of this race. And yeah, now we can prepare for a good battle between Tilsley and Macho, because I think he will catch him in the next few laps.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, in another battle, Choi trying to re-overtake 9th from Rafael Demel. Demel got her here on the previous lap. Looks like Choi is trying to repay the favour here as the Korean driver goes side by side through into the right-hander as Macho sets another fast lap at 1 minute 7.695, and Choi retakes 9th from Rafael Demel there as Denholm now wants to try and take that final points place away from the Brazilian. He's trying to attack back on Choi into the second to last corner, and that's just put Denholm into this fight now. Then he's got a 2-second gap between himself and Kochi Chion, who's actually made some good progress so far from 19th in the grid, already up into 12th position. Is the Malaysian driver in the Mahindra as all 3 of them stay single file into that first corner. Meantime, look at this now, 1.3 seconds the gap between the top 2. Macho is definitely quicker at the moment than Tilsley, and it's definitely showing as Kulizek trying to have a go at Aviar, but has a lockup going into the S's there. That's not going to help his tyres out any good, considering we saw earlier on that Koenig had a puncture, and now he finds himself under pressure from the other portion of Razan. So far, he finds himself in a Porsche sandwich. Denholm on the inside of Demel, but Demel going to hold on for the moment as it looks like Andreoli is actually closing in a bit on his teammate Ionescu in the fight for 5th position. As Decelli with a bit of a gap between himself and in fact, unseen by the cameras, Decelli has actually got first from Peracci. So Decelli is now back into the podium places. He's passed Peracci somewhere on the track as the top 2 start lap 15, and Macho with another fastest lap, 1 minute 6.5 exactly on that occasion. As meanwhile, as again, Demel really not leaving Sana Choi alone at the moment, nor is Ross Denholm, as they now round the final turn on the racetrack. And well, there's still single file at the moment are these 3 drivers as they round the final corner. As yeah, so Decelli up into 3rd, really flying so far in the Group 2 Nissan, it's fair to say. Andreoli is past Ionescu. Andreoli up into 5th place, he's past Ionescu, so clearly no team orders at Audi. And up into P5 goes Santino Andreoli in the Audi. They've also got Nguyen Min Kwan in the Group 2 Czech Cheetah maybe starting to bother them in just a little bit. But Ionescu wanting to retake P5 for Andreoli here down this long back straight. On the inside goes the Romanian, as I thought for a minute there Andreoli was going to try and shut the door on him there, but it hasn't quite worked out. Side by side they go, and Andreoli is going to hold on. So he's going to hold on to 5th place for the moment. But meantime, I want to get back to that battle for the lead that could be developing quite soon between Tilsley and Mocho. Look at this Mocho
already.
Mocho on the gearbox and Tilsley trying to have a go into the S's if he can, but Tilsley covers him off, and that's ruined any sort of momentum. That's going to ruin any memento Mocho had, and probably allows the Cherry to close up just a bit. But yeah, probably a little bit impatient there, Dennis.
Yeah, because we've seen that was not a good overtaking opportunity there. He lost a lot of time. Now he has to get these. I think he lost over a second. He needs to claim it back to make another opportunity work some laps.
While Kwan has overtaken Ionescu for 6th, and Denholm is up into 9th. He's passed both Lamel and Chue, and now look at this. They've also brought Koichi Chion into this battle for the final points place, and also Owen Carpenter as well in the DS Gita, and the Porsche of Leighton Aviard as well. And in fact, 2 more cars as well. There's a train forming behind Sana Chue in the Neo, and
one is a Virgin. Think.
Yeah, it is. In fact, the Virgin and the other Porsche are gaining as well. So both Porsches in this fight. As meantime, Demau on the inside of Sana Chue, but Chue had fending off. Meantime, just behind Carpenter on the inside of Koichi Chion now then, as they make their way into the penultimate corner, as they're going to try and go side by side. Chion just going to hold on for the moment, and now Chion has lost touch to Rafael Demau as a result, and Leighton Aviard, and of course Kulizek and Razan in this as well. Kulizek trying to have a look on the inside of Aviard there, but did quite well. Jackson's out of the race. The championship leader is out. A big engine failure there, so both BMWs out. It's a gearbox failure and an engine failure at the same time as well. So 2 issues for the BMWs. What a disastrous day for BMW, Dennis.
Oh my goodness! I didn't expect that would come. And that is big for the championship early on, because you have the championship leader parking on the side of the track with an engine failure. That is shocking.
Yes, indeed. That's going to open up the championship a little bit more. So Robert Ionescu definitely licking his lips, as is everybody else that's behind Ionescu in the championship. Meanwhile, Mocho with another fastest lap. He's now closed back in on Jake Tilsley. Meanwhile, unseen by the cameras, Ionescu re-overtook Nguyen Minh Quan for 6th position. But Quan wants that position back going into the first corner. The Vietnamese driver on the inside of the Romanian, and he retakes 6th place for these. Back up to 6th place goes Nguyen Minh Quan in the DS Cheetahs. Now Sana Chue, who's now gained a place as a result of Jackson trying to retake 8th from Ross Denholm. Denholm losing a bit of time, and she retakes the place from Denholm, and now it's 4 championship points for the Neo driver.
Yeah, there's absolutely everything going on at the moment. You've seen battles everywhere.
Now look at this.
Mocho going for it.
Dennis. Mocho going for the lead on Tilsley. Side by side go the Mercedes and the Jaguar down the back straight, and he's done it. Michael Mocho, for the first time today, takes the lead of the Atlanta ePrix, but will Jake Tilsley try and get it back into the second last corner, trying to stick his nose there, but Mocho covers the inside off, and now that's created a gap for him to not be prone into turn 1, but Michael Mocho now in the lead of the Atlanta ePrix.
Yeah, it's absolutely great race for Mocho so far. He's absolutely having the pace compared to everyone else, even to Tilsley. And then now he can try to build a gap between himself and Tilsley.
Ionescu trying to get back at Quan there in their battle for 6th, but it didn't quite work out. As meantime, it looks like Denholm has retaken 8th from Chue, and now Demau wants to punish the Neo driver. Down the inside goes Rafael Demau in the Nissan, and not quite. Chue just hangs on for the moment. Chue, despite this though, really getting into the thick of it, despite the lack of power that the Neo has, or the lack of resources compared to the Group 2 and Group 1 cars that the Neo is suffering. She's really holding out her own in that top 10 position at the moment in the Neo, as meantime Quan still having to fend off from Ionescu. But we've got the pit stops underway this lap, because Jake Tilsley is pitting this lap. The mandatory pit stops are going to be underway this lap now. Then the laps have gone very quickly, it's fair to say. We're not quite at the halfway point yet, only a few laps until we get to the halfway point, but Jake Tilsley is in, looking like he wants to try and retake Mocho in the pits, it seems, but the Jaguar driver is in.
Yeah, of course, he needs a very quick pit stop to have a chance to still fight against Mojo. Let's see.
It's a 7.5 second
7.5
stop.
seconds.
7.5 seconds off for Jake Tilsley. There's a couple of more mechanics out in the pits as well, but luckily they weren't there for when Jake Tilsley came out of the pits, and he's going to come out and emerge in 7th place. So P7 for Jake Tilsley after his pit stop, and he'll be very interested to see if he can try and claw that deficit onto Mocho, and he'll be very interested to see when Mocho makes his pit stop. As a few more in, it is Chwei, in fact. Shana Chwei is in the pits for Neo, so running in the top 10 at the moment was Chwei before the pit stops. She's now in the pits for her mandatory pit stop, as was Coach Chun Cheon as well, so they're both in, and Sana Chwei finishes the pit stop, having to go around the mechanic there for Venturi. Where is she going to emerge? Well, it's going to be 18th because there's only 19 cars left, so Coach Chun Cheon will be joined in last position. DiCelli staying out, and Mocho's in. Michael Mocho responding to Jake Tilsley, and the Mercedes driver is into the pits, and Hillboy wanted to make a quick stop if he wants to stay out in front of Jake Tilsley.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see how it works. New tires on. And let's see how many seconds he will stop. And it's a 6.6.
Yes, that's quicker than Tilsley's by 9/10 of a second there, so a very
he
quick
will
stop.
stay in front for sure.
And
I'm
he is going to
sure.
emerge still in front of Tilsley. He rejoins in 6th
by
position.
far.
I think Ionescu is into the pits because it said Ionescu behind Mocho on the dev panel there. So I think Robert Ionescu is just coming to the pits for Audi. And has he? Was I reading stuff there by mistake? I think I was reading stuff there by mistake. I think he's still out on track. Yeah. So that was Claire, the dev panel there, just making tricks there, it's fair to say. But DiCelli finds himself in the lead, but he is pitting this lap. But for a brief time, the Nissan will be in the lead of this race. And, well, a big achievement for them, given they're only a Group 2 car, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. I didn't expect them to eventually lead a lap today, but he's doing it, and he's proven me wrong. So it's a great job from DiCelli.
He's now in the pits.
He's in the pits.
DiCelli is now in the pits, so that will put Parachki in the lead for the time being, as Carpenter's trying to find a way through, and Kochi Cheon, these two have been battling for quite a while, even before these mandatory pit stop stages. Carpenter on the inside of Kochi Cheon, but it looks like Cheon is just going to fend off. Meantime, Nguyen Min Kwan is coming into the pits this lap, judging from the red indicator on Owen Carpenter's def panel. And so where did DiCelli emerge after his pit stop? I want to know. Let's just have a look at the bottom of the screen meanwhile, just to have a look, and he rejoins in 6th actually, or does he? In fact, he's had a Tilsley.
Tilsley.
The Tilsley there. So Tilsley's had a nightmare on his outlaps there, and even DiCelli in the Nissan has jumped him. So it could be P2 we're looking at there for the Italian.
Oh, I did not expect that to happen. That is such a brilliant race from DiCelli. Also great pit stop from the Nissan guys. So that brought him ahead of Tilsley somehow.
Yeah, indeed. I'm very surprised by that. So he's going to actually emerge in 2nd once everybody in front, apart from Mocho, of course, because he's already pitted, comes into the pits. But Mocho's got quite a healthy lead now in front after the pit stops. Ennis is going to be pitting this lap. He stayed out an extra lap, so he's pitting this lap as Kwan is now into the pits for DS Cheetah. Kwan having another strong showing, it's fair to say, in the DS Cheetah. So it'll be very interesting to see where he emerges after this pit stop, as we ride on board with Tilsley, who is trying to get... in fact, Denholm's passed him on tracks, and Denholm has not actually pitted yet, so it seems that on this stint, Tilsley is currently struggling so far. We're not seeing this from any of the others who have pitted, so I guess Tilsley's just struggling on this stint, Dennis.
Yeah, maybe he got a bad set of tires, or he doesn't bring up a good temperature for him to have a good second sit, but as I said, in the qualifying, it seems like the race pace is once again not good for Jaguar.
Yes, indeed, and I thought for a minute there I saw somebody win a mechanical failure, but it looks like it's just the def panel saying that others are pitting on a certain lap, so kind of deceiving there from the def panels. Parachki is now into the pits for Mercedes, so he's now in. Let's see where he emerges after this pit stop, because he stayed out for quite a while, and he'll have fresher tyres compared to everybody else, so including his own teammate. So let's see what the Macedonian driver is able to do. as he's now finishing off his pit stop. And in fact, he wasn't that far away from lapping. That looks like just Sana. In fact, Chui's back in the pits. She had a problem. I think I did see that she had a problem early on because she pitted earlier on. I was not wrong. There was a mechanical failure, and it was Sana Chui.
Oh no!
What looks to be a gearbox problem, I think. No, it's a throttle problem for Sana Chui. And oh, what a shame. She was running in the points as well. And that is so gutting. Shana Chui with a problem. And she's going to rejoin the back. And Perachki rejoins ahead of Dicelli. So it's going to be a Mercedes 1-2 once everybody pits, Dennis.
Yeah, that's everything turning onto its head. Now, everyone's having a bit of a... I forgot to say. But yeah, the race is definitely going on its head at the moment. So many things are happening.
Indeed, so much to keep up with. Andreoli is pitting at the end of this lap. So is Dicelli's teammate Rafael Duhamel as well. But it looks like Dicelli is actually going to try and spoil Mercedes' plans here, because Dicelli now on the inside. Perhaps he's still trying to warm up his tyres, of course, because they are still fresh. And Dicelli looking like he's going to try and punish him and split the two Mercedes here side by side. And Dicelli has got third as he. They're still side by side, but Dicelli has got it. Up into what will be second place for Dominic Dicelli. Santino Andreoli in the Audi has just come into the pits now, then to give Mocho back the lead of the race. But Perachki is not finished yet. He's going to try and get him back into turn one. Perachki on the inside as they both clear of Andreoli is in the pits. Side by side, can Perachki take the place? And yes, he can. So it's once again a Mercedes 1-2. But these two are definitely fighting hammer and tongs at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. But I have to say, it's absolutely outstanding performance from Dicelli at the moment. He's absolutely having a brilliant race.
Andreoli has also jumped Tilsley, so this has been a terrible few laps for Jake Tilsley, because now Andreoli in the Audi has also jumped him as well. As meantime, Dicelli trying to get back at Perachki into the double right-hander, but Perachki saying no to that. Will Dicelli try and get him back on the straight here, just like he did on the previous lap? Let's see.
Still the battle for second. Here comes Dicelli again.
Side by side, go to pair. Then is Dicelli going to get back ahead of Perachki. They're still side by side on this on straight, but this time Perachki has the edge and he's going to hold on to second place. Will Dicelli try and line him up perhaps for the first corner? Let's see. Depends how close he is. He's still relatively with him, but let's see if Dicelli will try and get him into the first corner using the curb on the outside in the slipstream of the Macedonian driver, but I don't think he's close enough. And no, Perachki shuts the door there through into the first corner, and Perachki holds on to that 1-2 for the moment. It's such a shame for Sana Chui. She's now being lapped. There's now this new battle for the lower reach of the points. Aviard on the inside of Duhamel. He takes knife, and Kulizic trying to take full advantage here, trying to go to the outside of Duhamel. But Duhamel holds on there for the moment, but Aviard up into ninth place in the Porsche, and very good stint it seems for the Porsche of Leighton Aviard at the moment. But meantime, Perachki creating a little bit of a gap between himself and Dicelli, but Dicelli's still sticking with him. 0.5 seconds the gap between the pair of them. Here's Robert Ionescu down in 7th place. Not exactly been the race for the Romanian so far in this race, it's fair to say, but yeah, so in fact, look at the gap that Mocho's got after the pit stop. He's got a 9.3 second gap as Carpenter sneaks his way through past there on Coach Chion there. Looked like Chion may have been cut off a bit there by Kulizak in front, and it compromised his run through the S's, and it allowed Carpenter there to blast past and take 12th position. As now, in fact, it's not Leighton Aviard that's in the points, it's Mohamed Razan in the other Porsche that's in the points. I do apologise. It's he who's in 9th place ahead of Duhamel, not Aviard. I do apologise. So it's actually Razan who actually started in last place. Let's not forget Graf. Dennis, sorry, I called you Graf again there. I apologise. Mohamed Razan, after starting in last, he's already done his pit stop. He's now in the points all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's a very great performance for him. He obviously know that he was better in the race pace, so he sacrificed the quality a bit.
To interrupt, Dicelli's retaken second from Perachki, so he had not finished on him yet, and Dicelli has retaken second place from Anis Perachki somewhere. I presume he got him down at turn 1. So Dicelli back up to second, and these two once again into combat. These two just can't stop swapping places at the moment, Dennis.
Yeah, that's such a great battle between those two. It's so much enjoying seeing these two guys battling it out for second, and here comes Perachki again. But I think Dicelli is because a bit wide.
And now Paratsky will try and punish him into turn 1 like he did on the previous lap. But I don't think he's close enough on that occasion. In fact, it looked like he didn't get the best of runs through that final corner. And they're going to stay single file through into the first corner at least. But all of this is allowing Mocho, who's got a 11.7 second lead in front of Dominic Ticelli at the moment. So Mocho currently dominating this race at the moment.
Yeah, of course, he is gaining a lot of time because of these two guys behind him fighting for second. But they're also Moto is having a great pace in this race so far. Yeah, that's a very well-deserved lead at the moment.
Indeed so, but again, Paratsky has not finished yet with Ticelli. He's back on the slipstream of him down this very long back straight. Let's see what the Macedonian driver can do on this occasion. Paratsky now then on the inside of Dominic Ticelli now then, the Italian and the Macedonian in the Nissan and the Mercedes respectively, going side by side down this long straight. But on this occasion, Ticelli is just going to hold on for the moment. Paratsky will have to tuck back into his slipstream and try and see if he can get him back into the first corner as they now make their way through the second to last corner, round the final corner and onto the pit straight. They will now go now then, and again it looks like just like on the previous lap, Ticelli's just got enough of a gap to stay in front, and I'm just trying to keep an eye on Andreoli in fact, because he's 2.9 seconds behind Paratsky. I wonder if he's starting to lap quicker than these two, because he is on fresher tyres compared to these two as well, let's not forget. And who knows really, Andreoli could sniff a piece of a podium here if these two keep fighting. I will keep an eye on that if I can. As meantime, Kulizek is up into 10th in the Virgin. He's past Demel there on the straight, and up into P10 goes the Envision Virgin Racing car. So Kulizek so far having a good race so far, but it looks like Demel is wanting to try and get him back into the first corner if he can, as they now go down the pit straight. Is Demel going to try and have a go at Kulizek now into the first corner? No, Kulizek shuts the door and holds on to 10th place as Kulizek tries to get a hold of Denholm, who's in front. Sorry, Vrazan, I should say, in the Porsche, just in front, not Denholm. Denholm is, well, he's somewhere, but I don't know where. He's actually in 8th. He's the car who's in front of Mohamed Razan at the moment. And now look at this. Demel is going to have to worry about Owen Carpenter, who's just behind at the moment in the Techita. He also had a disappointing qualifying, and so far having good race pace, just like Mohamed Razan at the moment, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. For Carpenter, it's going quite well at the moment. So hopefully if he can keep up the pace, he could fight for a few points.
Indeed so, and I'm just trying to check a statistic out at the moment. It's always nice when you get on the Wikipedia to look at statistics, because I'm trying to check. I'm not trying to jinx this. Meantime, whilst I look, Carpenter is now past Demel, so up to P11 goes the Irishman, and that's P11 for him. And it looks like Ticelli is going to hold on to Paratsky as a result, so it seems that maybe he's starting to sprint away now from the Macedonian driver, unless it is still close. And yeah, he's just starting to bolt away at the moment. And Andreoli is catching on Paratsky. I did say I was going to keep an eye on that. He's taken 6/10 out of him the last time we checked. The gap now 2.3 seconds between Paratsky and Andreoli. As Ionescu is now starting to close up on. It seems he's suiting better on this stint as he's actually trying to lap Sana Choi in front, but he may be starting to close back in on Nguyen Minh Quan at the moment as he looks to try and retake 6th place from him. As we ride currently on board with Ross Denholm, who's currently looking very lonely in 8th place at the moment, Dennis.
Yeah, but if you're driving alone, that means you don't have to worry about being attacked from behind, but you also can focus on your own race for the moment. So yeah, for him, it's going smooth at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And the statistic I was looking for was when the last time Michael Mocho won an OC race. And the last time he won an OC race was back in 2018, of course, when he was in DTM. And it was at the first race of the season at the current version of Hockenheim. I don't want to jinx anything from him, but at the moment, if he keeps this up, he will take his first win in what is 3 seasons overall in the OCs. He's got a 13.6 second cushion now over Dominic Ticelli, as he's now got a 1.2 second cushion over Mocho's teammate Enis Paratsky at this point in time. As we've got 14 laps to go, soon to be 13 laps, because Mocho is not that far away from starting lap 32. Here he is. He's about to start lap 32 of 44, so there'll be 13 laps to go when he crosses the line. As it looks like Denholm there had a bit of a moment coming out of the left-hander, using a little bit too much curb on the outside there then. The gap 2 seconds now between Paratsky and Andreoli. So Andreoli continuing to close in now on Enis Paratsky and try and spoil a chance of a double podium for Mercedes, as it looks like now Paratsky is starting to lose touch to the Nissan of Dominic Ticelli right now. And so That's kind of that at the moment. Meantime, just behind Just White Kumar there, looks like Tobler having to fend off from Alex Broster in the other Virgin. Of course, his teammate, Wojciech Kulas, are currently in the points, and they're currently going to get lapped soon by Michael Mocho. There he is. He's just behind these two who are fighting for 16th position. So Mocho having to deal with a little bit of traffic so far. So I don't think we've had too much traffic so far this season, Dennis, but clearly with this sort of track, I think traffic was to be expected in this race.
Yeah, in this race, definitely, because we know how short this track is, with lap times around 107. So traffic is a very big factor here, as we see Mocho lap these guys.
Yep, he's just lapped them as he now starts lap 33. 12 laps to go of the Atlanta ePrix as Denholm continues to have a lonely race in 8th position. Although, having said that, Razan is starting to close in on him a little bit. The last time we checked, it was around 6 seconds. It's now down to 5.4 seconds. So it is clear that Razan is lapping quicker at the moment than Denholm, as it looks like a bit of a mistake there for Tobler. But unlike what we saw with Carpenter a little bit earlier on, Broster not able to capitalise through into the famous S's there. So it's not going to quite work out for him just yet there into that corner, as Broster has been stuck behind Tobler for quite a while. The gap 1.9 seconds now between Pratsky and Andrioli. It's coming down in tiny chunks, it's fair to say. I think Andrioli needs to dig deep and try and find a little bit more time if he wants to get onto the back of Enis Pratsky. As Decelli continues to increase his gap over Enis Pratsky. The gap now 1.7 seconds between the pair. But either way, Dennis, it's been an amazing performance from Dominic Decelli to say he's in a Group 2 Nissan.
Yeah, as I said before, it's an outstanding, brilliant race from him. He's absolutely driving his heart out today. And so far, it's looking very, very good for him to score, which would be his first podium of the season.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, we look like we could have a battle for 9th going on now then, because look at this. Razan maybe having to fend off soon from Wojciech Kulazek in the Virgin Racing car, and he's also dragged along, I think, Owen Carpenter, who's also looked pretty strong on this stint. The gap 1.8 seconds now between Pratsky and Andrioli, and whilst he is closing, I don't think he's really closing enough, Dennis.
No, not really. But yeah, it's still a bit time to go, so he can still gain a few seconds.
Yeah, indeed. As in fact, I've just seen there. Well, in fact, it's now gone up to 2.6 seconds now between Decelli and Pratsky. So yeah, Pratsky just continuing to lose time as it's now gone above 2 seconds between the pair of them. And I did say that Ionescu was starting to close in a bit on Kwan, but it looks like Kwan is now starting to respond and is now up the gap to 3.8 seconds. So it seems that it was just a brief blip there, it's fair to say, for on the end of Kwan there. As just looking at the gap between Denholm and Razin there, although it didn't give us a chance. And Demel getting it all crossed up there at the exit of the S's there and going into that near 90-degree left-hander, and it's allowed Koichi Chion to close in just a bit to 2 seconds, gain 3/10 as a result of that mistake from Rafael Demel there as they round the double right-hander and using all the curb on the exit there. So we have 10 laps to go in this race as Mocho has started lap 35 of 44 here at Road Atlanta, and that's that really, as my Discord there decided to have a little bit of a lag, the stream there, but it was only a brief lag there, nothing too serious, although it is starting to lag a little bit more as I say that. So
yeah, just said that. Yeah. Here we have Andrioli catching Pratsky quite slowly but surely. Joe, you're still here?
yeah, I think my internet decided to have a little bit of a moment.
Okay,
good. Well, actually, no, it wasn't my internet. I lied there. It was my Discord that was deciding to have a moment there. Although it could have been my internet because it looked like the stream was lagging for me there. So it might have been my internet. It might have been Discord. I don't know. But yeah, I am back now. I don't know what that all was about. But anyway, it's back to the action. And I think I was saying that. In fact, I can't remember what I was saying before that lag moment happened, Dennis. So there, but yeah, that's kind of that really. So meanwhile, this battle for 16th still continuing. It appears that Broster just hasn't been able to find a way through on Tobler at this point, Dennis.
No, not really. Tobler's defending quite well. The Broster trying to find a way past the Czech driver.
Yes,
and
as now he's going to try and have another go here, but again, same story. Tobler just covering him off there, and Mocho now starts lap 37 of 44 in this race now. Then, so including this lap, we have got 8 laps to go here at Road Atlanta, including this one. 13.8 seconds the gap now between Mocho and Dicelli. 1.4 the gap between Parachki and Andrioli. So I think he has started to close in a bit, but I think he just needs maybe a little bit more, Dennis.
Yep. So at the moment, it's not enough, but he could still pick up the pace and gain here and there a bit. But at the moment, it's not looking that well.
No, definitely not. It's now coming out of the double right hand, and we go. As here is Enis Parachki, as the gap is now 1.3 seconds between himself and Santino Andrioli. And just trying to see, there's Andrioli. Just about saw him there in the mirrors there. And so he is definitely closing, but he does need to close in a little bit more, I think, if he wants that third position. Although he has got plenty of time, it's fair to say. So he could still get it done, even with the amount of time he is getting at. And his Parachki is a lock up there for Leighton Aviard. He nearly made a mistake there through into the first corner. And I'm a bit surprised, really, Dennis, because last season we did see quite a few mistakes there last season. But so far, they've kept it tidy through there. Knocking on wood, obviously.
Yeah, it could be a good jinx, but so far, as I said, it's working. It's working all well in turn 1. Only that was, I'm not sure if that was the only mistake so far in this race. That's pretty impressive in comparison to last race.
It is indeed. Meanwhile, we're looking at Kulazek, who's closing back in now on Mohamed Razin. As it's 1.1 now between Parachki and Andrea. No, sorry, 1.4. So in fact, Parachki has actually responded a bit there in that sector. As Dicelli is now coming into traffic. This could be something that could help Andrioli out here, Dennis, because Mocho's had to deal with it. Now Dicelli is, and Parachki's only 3.7 seconds back from Dicelli. So this could be something that could help Andrioli try and grab third of Parachki here.
Yeah, indeed. It's not over yet to the fight for the third podium spot. We are looking forward to see who will get this third place in the end.
Yep, we'll have to wait and see on that one, as now coming up towards the closing stages of this race. 2.5 seconds so far between Dumal and Koichi Chion. He's actually started to pull away a bit now from the Malaysian Mahindra driver, as it's 14.2 now between Mocho and Dicelli. Mocho continuing to increase the gap out in front, as Dicelli has now lapped those guys. As now these two will be starting to come up to this traffic, as it's 1.1 seconds. Kulazek has got Razin. Over to 9th place goes Wojtek Kulazek in the Envision Virgin Racing car. So he's now sitting on 2 championship points at the moment.
Nice.
Is the Envision Virgin Racing car. Whether he can hold on to that, though, we will have to wait and see. But yeah, up into P9 now then goes Wojtek Kulazek in the Envision Virgin Racing cars. His teammate Alex Broster is still struggling to find a way through on Jacob Tobler at the moment, as now they make the way down this long straight. And will he get him this time by? And he answered again, no. 5 laps to go for race leader Michael Mocho. You can see in the background there, I think that's them. I could be wrong on that. I think just in the background, you just see, yes, it is Parachki and Andrioli right there as they come down the pit straight now then. And Brost is still stuck behind Tobler. And meantime, Razin has re-overtaken Kulazek, so it looks like those two are continuing to fight for 9th position in the lower reaches of the points at the moment, as Razin has retaken P9 there from Wojtek Kulazek, as Broster having to back out there from Tobler. And I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, look at this, Coach Chion is now on the back of Broster, and it's also put Parachki. Keep an eye on Andrioli behind, because the longer that Parachki gets stuck behind, the more Andrioli will close up, and he is closing now rapidly. 0.6 seconds now, the gap between Parachki and Andrioli now then in this fight for 3rd position, as they now make their way through the double right-hander. Will any of them get out of the way? Because, of course, Coach on trying to find a way through on Broster, and he's going to try and have a go at him Down the straight, Coach Cheon now then on the inside of Alex Broster. And will he grab 17th from the Virgin? It looks like he is going to. And up into P17 goes Coach Cheon as Parachki now trying to lap Broster. And he's not letting him go there. Where is Andrioli? And Andrioli just going to close in a bit more here as Parachki going to try and lap Broster. But again, Broster probably not aware that those two are behind. And now look at this. Andrioli now in the gearbox of Enis Parachki. Can he grab third place on the Macedonian? No, because Parachki is now going to lap Broster. But it looks like Andrioli is also going to follow through as well. He's not wasting any time at all. And now Parachki trying to lap if he can. Coach Cheon, he's going to try and do it into the S's. He wants to dispose as quick as possible. But Coach on clearly not aware, and now Andrioli is ready to pounce on the Macedonian now. Then down through the famous S as we go, through the right, then the left, and then up the hill we go, through the long left-hander now. Then could Andrioli potentially try and get hold of Parachki into the straight now? Then is he trying to line him up, in fact, potentially for the double right-hander, but Parachki going to cover the inside there and hold on to P3 as a result. They now make their way through this right-hander and now takes them onto this long back straight now. Then Andrioli in the slipstream of Enis Parachki. Can he grab the final podium place and ruin the Mercedes double podium here? Andrioli now then on the inside. 3 laps to go for race leader Michael Macho. Andrioli on the inside. Is it P3 for the Frenchman? Down the inside he goes as they go side by side down this straight. Andrioli on the inside. They're still side by side, but he has got it. Andrioli up into third position, but can Parachki try and get him back into the first corner? Let's see, because he's still got the slipstream on the Frenchman now, who will also have a bit of slipstream from Coach Cheon in front, but it's obviously not enough. Parachki on the inside. Is he going to retake the place from Andrioli down the inside? And he is.
Yes.
Parachki retakes third place there, but Andrioli will not give up on him just yet, Dennis.
Yeah, what a great battle we see between those two. It's like the same we see between the Jelly and Parachki a few laps ago. But it could be the same for Parachki all over again.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, we've still got some action tomorrow as well. Let's not forget, because of course we are at the American doubleheader. We will have a race at the fictional Dodge Island street circuit tomorrow for the Miami ePrix. So stay tuned for that as well. Tomorrow at the same time at 3 p.m. BST, as Parachki now puts a lap on Coach Cheon, as does Santino Andrioli, leading these two to just 5. As Macho starts the penultimate lap of the Atlanta ePrix now. Then as Andrioli on the inside of Parachki, can he get the move done down this long right straight? Not this time. Parachki just holds on for the moment, but can Andrioli stick in this slipstream to try and get him into the first corner, just as he did on the previous lap to him, through the second to last corner? And it doesn't look like he's going to be close enough on this occasion, so Parachki just going to hold on for the moment, but Andrioli is going to be on him like a cheap suit at the moment on this lap now. Then through into the first corner we go, this medium speed first corner up the hill towards the famous S's we go now. Then it goes downhill a little bit here through the right and then down through the famous S's we go, as Andrioli definitely quicker through this section than what Parachki is in the moment. Of course, has got a couple of laps fresher tyres than what Parachki has on his car, as he now come out of the left-hander. This is the fight for the final podium place now then. On the podium as Andrioli trying to get revenge for missing out on the podium last time out in Mexico City. Some of that you could blame on him shooting his own tyres after collecting the back of, in fact, I think that was actually Parachki in the last race, really, at Mexico City. So Andrioli trying to get revenge as Carpenter, from nowhere, is now in the points. He's up into 9th place, Masculisek, as Macho starts the final lap of the race here at Atlanta, as now Andrioli on the inside of Parachki down this long straight, as he got Parachki this time by, and no, Parachki just going to hold on
look like it
for the moment, as this battle for third still continues. And as mentioned, Michael Macho has started the final lap of the Atlanta ePrix, and where is he? He's just come out of the famous S's now. Then it's just been a brilliant race for Macho, really. He looked so quick, and once he took the lead just before the mandatory pit stops, he never looked back. He started in, I think it was, where did he start?
P7.
Andrioli's got third. Andrioli up into third. He's past Parachki.
Yes, he's through.
He is finally through, and that has ruined plans for Mercedes have a dual podium, but it's not over yet, because I think Parachki is still close by, and I was correct, it was at the first corner, but keep an eye on that battle, because that still could happen down this back straight. But we need to keep an eye on Michael Macho for the moment, as now he comes up towards the final few corners on the racetrack now. Then, as mentioned, it's just been a brilliant race. He hasn't won an OC race since 2018 when he was in DTM. That was at the current version of Hockenheim, but that is going to change. He's going to get his first ever Formula E win, and his first win in the OC since 2018 around the final corner, and it is going to be Michael Macho that wins the Atlanta ePrix. He's back to winning race, just like Ionescu in the last race. What a performance from Michael Macho as he wins the Atlanta ePrix, and what a performance from Dominic Dicelli in the Group 2 Nissan. He's going to get gets second place. What a performance from the Italian. P2 for Dominic Ticelli, P15 for him, and Andrioli has held off, and Andrioli is going to get revenge for the Mexico City ePrix as he picks up the final podium place. Ennis Perachki just misses out on a double podium for Mercedes as Coach Jung just holds on to Broster for 17th. P6 for Kwan, another good result for him. Ionescu, he will take points off of Jackson as he finishes in 7th, but not ideal for him given he won the last race at Mexico. Sana Chue, what could have been for her, was running in the points before the mechanical failure, and it's only P19 for her. What a shame for Sana Chue. As Ross Denholm is going to pick up 8th in the Venturi. A good performance for him. For the Scotsman, Owen Carpenter is going to make it a double points finish for DS Techeetah. He finishes in 9th, followed by Kulizek, who gets his first points of the season in 10th. Razan just misses out in 11th, but still couldn't come back nonetheless, given he qualified in last. Dumel in 12th, and there you have it. Michael Mocho, the race winner. A dominant display for Michael Mocho as he takes his first OC win since 2018, and what a performance from Michael Mocho in the Mercedes indeed. Let's look at the final results then of the Atlanta ePrix. Michael Mocho wins. Dominic Ticelli, very impressive second, with Santino Andrioli gets revenge from Mexico in third. Ennis Perachki fourth. Jake Tilsley, well, couldn't really convert his pole and finishes in 5th. Kwan in 6th, with Robert Ionescu in 7th. Takes points over Jackson nonetheless. Ross Denholm in 8th. Owen Carpenter ensures a double points finish for Cheetah in 9th. With Phil Kulizek completing the points in 10th. With Mohamed Razin in 11th. And you could do the rest, Dennis.
So Rafael Dumas in P12. Cook Chi Youngs in P13. Leighton Evyard P14. Jaswan Kuwa P15. Ahead of Jakub Tobola and Kok Chun Cheong. Alex Broster in P18, ahead of Sana Choi. What could have been for her, sadly, as you said, she got the mechanical problem, which thrown her out of the points, which is a big shame. And here the retirement, Brandon Jackson with the engine failure. Agi Prazan with the transmission failure. Marvo Koenig, while being in the lead, with a puncture.
Disastrous day for the BMWs, and it is Michael Mocho that gets the fastest lap of 1 minute 7.398, so he is going to get 27 points towards his account, 25 for the win, and of course 2 bonus points for the fastest lap, bringing it up to 27. Well, there you have it then. That has been it for the Atlanta ePrix. A very, very exciting race, and one that I'm definitely shattered about, because it was very, very exciting nonetheless, and well, a very, very exciting one indeed. But we're not done with Formula E, because of course we are at the American doubleheader, because tomorrow at the same time at 3 p.m. BST we have the second of the 2 American doubleheaders. This time the Miami ePrix at the fictional Dodge Island Street Circuit will play host to Formula E tomorrow at 3 p.m. BST, so do look out for that. Also tomorrow as well, we do have the Formula 2 qualifying session as well taking place at Barcelona, so a lot of action coming your way very soon, along, of course, with the top classes coming up this week as well from the Spanish Grand Prix. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it, so thank you all for watching. I'm JW97, he's been Dennis Graff, and we will see you tomorrow for more Formula E action at 3 p.m. BST for the Miami ePrix at the fictional Dodge Island Street Circuit. Till tomorrow, take care.
Bye, every time.